The Mumbai Indians, the defending champions, all that invincibility, which Deep Dasgupta mentioned last time, seems to be cracking just a bit. Two defeats out of two in the restart. On Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 timeout. Carlos Brathwaite as well. Deep, what do Mumbai do to fix this? We don't know if Hardik Pandya is going to play, but what do they do about the middle order?
Well, bottom line is they've got to score runs. They can't do much because obviously you've got that middle order is really, really good. They've been very productive in the past. So, bottom line is they've got to find a way to get that middle order to fire. And like I said, I mean, Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, they've been brilliant. Last time around here in the UAE, both of them together scored about 1,000 runs. So, yeah, they just need to start scoring again.
It's a strange problem for a franchise this strong, Carlos, because these are the best 11, these are the best players they've got. You're not quite sure if you just keep with them, even though they're not getting runs, or replace them with players that you don't know what to get from. Do Mumbai Indians make changes or still keep faith with Surya and Ishan Kishan, who don't seem to be getting runs at the moment?
Well, firstly, I keep faith with Mahela. He always just loses first up, make everyone think there's a crisis, and then smashes the back end of a tournament and win it. But I think, especially with their selection to the World Cup team and the past 18 months that they've had, I think you have to keep faith with them. Um, they will come good. I think that's the thing about good players. They will come good. And I think at this point in time, you're asking Rohit on his way back after his quarantine, Pollard, who just had a decent CPL with the bat as well. You're asking those guys, the real senior internationals who'd have done it for 5+ years, um, to carry them a bit, share some experience, lend a hand, not necessarily technically or tactically, but more so mentally. No, you're not the Suryakumar Yadav that's fighting for a play in the Mumbai team or fighting for a play in the India team. It's always easier when you're the hunter, when you're trying to get that play, when you're trying to crawl out of the underdog tag, when you are the main man and you're in the team and everyone is hunting you. It all of a sudden becomes so much more difficult. So for guys that have been hunted already, Rohit Sharma, Kieran Pollard, it's up to them to show the way to the younger guys who will be in this position for probably the first time in their life.
One question to both of you. Given they've lost two tosses and they've made to do both things, they've struggled batting first and batting second with that middle order. What would make it easier for them against another team that's desperate to win in RCB? Deep, what would make it easier for this team, batting first or chasing?
Listen, I mean, traditionally, and if you look at this format, chasing is comparatively easier in terms of what the target is. Obviously, one of the biggest challenge in this format is to figure out what a par or a good score is batting first. So chasing, I would say, but again, I mean, just quickly on Surya. Listen, he hasn't scored runs, but he hasn't looked out of form. He's obviously out of runs, but I just hope he's a little more watchful, cut down on some of his unorthodox shots initially. When he once he gets going and starts scoring runs and looks a little more freer, uh, then maybe he can start playing those shots of his. But for me, I think he's out of runs, but not out of form. So just a little more watchful approach from him would do, I guess.
Carlos?
So it's a tricky one because you'd want to say bat first, and have not have the scoreboard pressure, just play a natural game, be positive, and even if you need to take a few balls because you know how good you are. But that can also be detrimental to them. You can also find them scoring 40 off 35, 40 off 40 balls. Whereas if they have to chase 180, 190, and they have to come out and just play the natural game because the scoreboard dictates, it may actually set them off on a decent rhythm. So it's a tricky one. I'd say chasing at this moment, um, just because I would prefer the scoreboard to dictate their tempo, and mentally for them not to go into a shell and think that they have to chase a score and as a result be too negative.
All right. Carlos, Deep, thank you very much. Let's see what the Mumbai Indians can put up against the Royal Challengers Bangalore. This was Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket Foot T20 Timeout.
We call it people technology.